Finally saw The Avengers, but I didn't see it on Netflix, so I'm not going to talk about it. I will, however, regale you with the funny story of what I went through to see the film. Now, if you saw my day 16 video, 17 video, somewhere around there, the one where I talk about Thief, I told you that I tried going to the theater, but the showtimes were wrong. And there was no later matinee showing, so I left. Didn't get to see the movie. Went to drown my sorrows in donuts, but the donut shop didn't have the donut I wanted. And then my phone somehow switched over to airplane mode, so I couldn't text my friend. Now, these are minor irritants. They are things that are not my fault. They are little things that are beyond my control. Nevertheless, I find them aggravating. I have a bit of a temper. Very good anger management skills, though, so it kind of balances out. Now, pardon me, but my nose is sweating. So, this week, I checked the website, which I did last week. Checked the times. Called AMC just to make sure I had the times right, to make sure the times on the site and the times on the phone service were correct. They were. Got up early even though I didn't want to because I was tired. Just in case, just in case. I went to the first matinee showing, something like a 9:20 show or something like that. Figured if somehow they screw up the time again, I can see a later showing. They somehow screwed up the time again. So I bought a ticket for a showing that was an hour and 20 minutes or so later than the time I was there. Well, I always endeavor to be polite. So, I walked into the theater, and I very calmly and very respectfully informed the manager that the show times on the website were incorrect, and that this was the second week in a row that this had happened. And mistakes happen. Just thought you would like to know. And the manager was very nice and, said, I'm sorry you've been put through this inconvenience. Let's try and determine where the problem is so that it doesn't happen again. And as we spoke, pardon, it became clear that I'm an idiot. This whole thing was my fault. I was looking at the show times for the wrong damn theater. Oops. I could make excuses. I just moved, so you could say I'm not as familiar with this area as I might have been in my previous place. Which would be stupid because this is the same theater I went to when I lived in my previous place. I could also say that the names of the two theaters, which are like a mile from each other, they're really right down the street from each other, are very similar. One is the Fashion Valley 18 and one is the Mission Valley 20. But no, I take full responsibility for my amazing incompetence, for making the same mistake 2 weeks in a row and not realizing it until I was speaking to the manager of the theater. This is why it's always good to be nice. Because, man, what an asshole I would appear to be if I went, God damn it, you son of a bitch, you asshole! What do you think you're doing, wasting my time? Get off my lawn, kids! Still, as I said, I find those niggling aggravations that are not my fault and are beyond my control quite vexing indeed. And though I do an okay job of masking it, little irritants like that make me absolutely livid. Yeah, personal failing, I know. But when it's my fault, when I do something silly, something that I shouldn't have done, something I should have known better, something that's my own fault, inconveniencing myself through my own stupidity and incompetence, that I find 10 times more aggravating if I had to quantify it. But I deal with that rage in my own special way. Not a very healthy way, but it's my way. Today's movie is Snowpiercer. I hear tell it's a good 'un. Let's find out. It took me a little while to warm up to this movie. The basic premise doesn't make any sense. It is modern times, 2014. Global warming is a thing. So humans, recognizing that there's a problem, say, we need to fix this global warming thing before the Earth is completely unlivable. We haven't mastered interstellar travel yet. We have nowhere to go. We're stuck here on this rock. So we better make sure that we don't make it uninhabitable. So do we stop pumping crap into the air? No, we pump more crap into the air. But you see, what this crap is going to do is it's going to lower the global temperatures. Because global warming, temperature goes up and up and up, and we pump this new crap into the air, and the temperature goes down and down and down. Of course, being humans, we overdo it. Instead of global warming, we have global freezing, which wipes humanity off the face of the Earth. Except 300 or so people that are on a train. Choo-choo. This is a very special train. It's called the Rickety Ark or something like that. Ark is in the name. So at the beginning of the movie, it sounds like they built this knowing that it was going to be needed. This is a train that is incredibly long. It has 50 cars, maybe more, maybe 100 cars. Really big train. The train track circles the globe. It doesn't seem to quite circle the globe, but it does travel everywhere. It says it connects every train track, so it just goes everywhere. The track itself, it goes to every country. The track itself is so damned long that it takes a full year for the train to, exactly a year actually, for the train to make a complete loop. The rich eccentric who built this knew that the whatever crap we were pumping into the air was going to freeze the world. So I guess he kind of got a jump on it. Although that sounds kind of like an impossible project. It also sounds like something that just wouldn't work. I mean, the Earth is frozen. Who's maintaining the track? Even if you could build this entire track thing, which you couldn't, I don't care how much money you have. They're trying to build a rail from, I think, Los Angeles to San Francisco. Won't that be swell? They've budgeted that sucker out for something like 15 years. Yeah, that's a few hundred miles. This is all over the world. Now, maybe they actually literally used all the existing train tracks and just connected them all, which doesn't make any damn sense. This looks like a custom job, especially since all the exterior shots of the train, which is some pretty awful effects. I guess this is for some reason I had in my mind that this was a big expensive picture. It's not. The CG effects for the train are woeful. A lot of the track is elevated. In fact, almost all of the track that you see is this humongous elevated rail line, which would cost even more time and money. So the film starts off, and it's a very haves and have-nots. The haves are in the front of the train, and they wine and dine, and they play violins, and they have saunas and parties and stuff, and everyone who's the have-nots exists in the back of the train. So it's a class thing. And so at the beginning of the movie, you wonder yourself, why would you build the train like that? Why would you even let these people onto the train in the first place? And you think, well, maybe they're going to be the slave labor. You keep the riffraff around so that they can maintain the train, run the engines and stuff which are in the back. Nope. There's no engines in the back. The riffraff, they don't do anything. They're just there. You think, I don't understand why they bother making protein bars for all these people. Why not just shoot them all? Or disconnect the last car and let them drive. Well, I mean, eventually you'd come back around and hit it, I guess. But it doesn't make any damn sense. But here's the thing. Two things, actually. This movie is aggressively silly. I'm not going to spoil how or why, because that's really part of the fun. Number two, the movie, as it goes on, explains enough to make sense in such an aggressively silly universe. If you think about it in the context of reality, it's stupid. But, being that this movie is really, truly silly, when the explanations come down to the pike for why things are the way they are and how things work the way they work, yeah, it works. In the context of its own universe, it's satisfying. Another thing is this movie is a little over 2 hours. It's really quickly paced. You might imagine that they're going to plan the revolt and storm the head of the train, and that's going to start at halfway there. No, they're pretty much by the 20-minute mark. They're charging from the ass end of the train to the front. So this movie, chop chop, let's go. So Some nice pacing there. Also, if you don't know, don't look at the cast list, because there's a lot of cool people who pop up in this movie. I think that's really all I'm going to say about it. Because the fun of this movie, and it is fun, aggressively silly, yes, but very fun. The fun of the movie is finding out what the explanations to all the questions you're going to immediately have at the beginning of the movie are. What is in each successive car of the train? It's fun to find out. Visually, with the exception of the exterior shots, which are mostly really horrible CG, it's got a really nice visual style to it. I think it's shot well. Performances are good. I enjoyed it. Again, it took me a while to warm up to it because I was taking the movie a little too seriously at first. And that's a mistake. So, open your mind and let the movie wash over you. Have fun. I'll see you tomorrow.